Jason stood quietly at the edge of the lake, holding a metal container in one hand and a scanner in the other. The sky above was purple, streaked with soft green clouds. He had seen many strange things on this planet, but this lake was different. It was too quiet, no bugs, no wind, no birds, just stillness. The water looked like glass, not even a ripple moved across it. Jason frowned and crouched beside it, dipping his container in. The scanner beeped once. "Good mineral levels. Clean," he whispered. He stood to leave, but a sudden splash behind him made him freeze. Jason slowly turned. Ah. Girl stood in the water, not human, not completely. Her skin was smooth, almost glowing faint blue. Her eyes were large, silver, and shimmering like moonlight. Long, dark hair floated around her shoulders. She wore nothing but thin cloth wrapped around her body like seaweed. But the most shocking thing, she wasn't scared of him. She stared. At him, unblinkking. Jason took a step back, hand moving to his belt where his blaster was holstered. He didn't draw it. Didn't want to scare her, but he was scared himself. The girl tilted her head, curious, like she was studying him. Then, without saying a word, she turned and dove into the water. Splash. Gone. Jason blinked and rushed forward. But the water was already still again. No bubbles, no sound. No sign she'd been there at all. Was that real? He muttered. He waited for a minute. Then another. Nothing. Only the silence again. He left the lake, looking over his shoulder more than once. That night, Jason sat alone inside his small research pod. The metal walls around him hummed softly. He played the scanner recording, again no life forms detected. But he had seen her was she a hallucination? He rubbed his eyes and laughed nervously. "No way," he whispered. She was real, but why didn't she run? Why wasn't she scared? Most local wildlife avoided humans. But she had stared at him like she knew what he was. Like she was expecting him. He didn't sleep much that night. Next morning, Jason woke early and hiked back to the lake. The same silence greeted him, the same still water. He waited for hours. Noon came and went. He sat on a rock near the edge, tossing pebbles into the water. Maybe she wasn't coming back. He stood up. Splash. His heart jumped. She was there again. This time standing waist-deep, closer than before. She looked calm. The water shimmered around her. Jason raised both hands, showing he wasn't a threat. "I'm not going to hurt you," he said softly. The girl opened her mouth. At first, no sound came out. Then a single word. "Help." Her voice was soft and broken, like someone learning to speak after a long silence. Jason stepped closer. What do you need?" She looked around, then pointed to the trees behind him. Jason turned nothing there when he looked back. She was walking slowly toward the deeper part of the lake. The water was now chest-high on her. "Wait, what's your name?" Jason asked. She stopped, then said, "Sarah." And again, she dove underwater and vanished. Jason didn't see her the rest of the day. That night, couldn't stop thinking about her. Sarah, he said the name aloud. It felt real now, not a dream. She had asked for help, but what kind? Of help, why here? Why now? Jason opened a communication line to the science base, but didn't send any message. He wasn't sure if he should tell them. The people back at base were scientists, yes, but also hunters of knowledge. If they knew about Sarah, they would come for her, study her, cage her. Use her. JSC knew how that ended. No, not yet. Tomorrow, he would return. And this time, he would bring supplies, food, medicine. Maybe she needed something simple. Or maybe she was sick. Either way, he had made a silent promise. He was going to help her, even if he didn't understand her. Yet, even if it cost him, Jason didn't sleep much that night. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Sarah's silver eyes, her glowing skin, the way she said help. It wasn't just a voice, it was a cry from her soul. At sunrise, Jason packed a small bag, water purifier, dried protein bars, some thermal wraps, a med scanner, and a translator chip, just in case. He also took his field journal, in case Sarah tried to speak again. He walked the forest trail with quiet steps, avoiding crunching leaves and broken branches. The lake waited ahead, still and silent as before. No sound, but Jason felt it in his bones. She was there. He sat at the water's edge and waited. 1 minute, 5, 10. Then, the surface broke. She rose slowly, water slipping from her shoulders like glass, her head tilted. She watched him again, calm, curious. But today something was different. Her skin shimmered brighter. It wasn't just pale blue now. It rippled with soft light. Faint scale-like patterns glowed and faded along her arms. Jason's breath caught. "Sarah?" he asked gently. She stepped forward into the shallows. Water now reached just below her waist. "Are you okay?" Sarah looked down at her own arm. Jason saw it clearly. Now the scales moved, not like armor, more like breathing skin, living light under the surface. But something was wrong. The glow dimmed. Her legs trembled slightly. Without warning, she dropped to one knee in the water. Jason jumped up and ran into the shallows, boots splashing. "Sarah." She looked up, weakly, and held out her hand. Jason took it without thinking. Her fingers were cold, so cold. She leaned on him. Jason helped her sit against a rock near the edge. She didn't resist. Her breath came in soft, shallow waves. He took out the med scanner and hovered it over her body temperature. Dangerously low. Internal energy declining. Jason frowned. "You're not just cold, you're fading." Sarah's voice came, soft and broken. "Lake, not strong anymore." Jason looked at the water. It shimmered, but only near her. Everywhere else, it looked dull. "What do you mean? What's wrong with it?" Sarah touched the surface. "Polluted, faint." From far, Jason understood. Something upstream. Maybe chemicals or power runoff from the research base. Something was poisoning the lacanter. "This lake healed you before, didn't it?" She nodded weakly. "But now it's failing." She pointed at the bag. Jason opened it and pulled out a silver wrap. He gently placed it over her shoulders. She shivered but smiled. "Thank you," she said. Jason sat beside her on the stone. He handed her a protein bar, and she took it, carefully smelled it first, then bit slowly. Her eyes widened in surprise, like she hadn't tasted anything like it before. "I'll fix this," he promised. "I'll test the water. I'll find the problem." Sarah looked at him, blinking slowly. "You're not like others." Jason tilted his head. "You've met other humans." She shook her head. "Stories from old ones." Jason leaned forward. "Where are they now? Your people." She looked away. "Gone," she whispered. "Left. Long ago, only me." Jason's heart sank. "You're alone." She nodded. "But I stayed. I thought, maybe one day, someone would come." Jason didn't speak. His chest felt heavy. This wasn't just an alien encounter. It was a girl. Abandoned, sick, alone, waiting for someone to care. He looked at the lake. If it kept fading, she'd die. He had to act fast. "Sarah, can you swim well?" She blinked. "Yes. I need to test the deep water." "Can you take this?" He handed her a small floating scanner. "Swim down as far as you can. Let it scan everything." She nodded and took the scanner. Then she did something unexpected. She smiled. It was small, gentle, but warm. Jason felt something strange stir in his chest. Sarah stood and slipped fully into the lake. As soon as her body touched the deeper water, the glow returned. Her skin changed again, Scales' bright eyes glowing faint gold. She moved with grace, like a sea spirit. Jason watched in awe. She dove deep, her body vanishing in seconds. The scanner beeped once, twice, then sent a signal. To his tablet, Jason read the screen. High toxin levels at the western stream mouth. Source: unknown compound. He narrowed his eyes. Something upstream was leaking into the lake, and it was killing her. Sarah returned to the surface minutes later, tired but stronger than before. The deep water had helped Dash barely dot. Jason helped her out of the lake and wrapped her in another thermal sheet. "I know where it's coming from," he told her. "The water's poisoned upstream. I'll stop it." She looked up at him with something new in her eyes. Trust. Jason didn't know why, but he felt it too. He stood. "I'll be back," he said. "Tomorrow." With answers, Sarah nodded. "I'll wait." Jason returned the next morning, but something was different. The trees felt darker. The wind no longer blew gently through the alien leaves, it whispered. The kind of whisper that made the back of his neck prickle. He tightened his pack straps and walked faster toward the lake. As he reached the edge, he didn't see Sarah right away. "Hey, you here?" he called softly. Silence. Jason looked across the lake. Still water, still trees, still nothing. His fingers brushed the small scanner, clipped to his belt, then dash splash. She broke through the surface like a dream. Returning, Sarah swam toward him with strong strokes. Her glowing scales shimmered beneath the water like stars. She moved gracefully, like she belonged in it. Jason stepped into the shallows. "I found the toxin source. It's coming from the western ridge, likely an old outpost." "The filters are broken?" Sarah paused, floating. "Can you fix it?" Jason nodded. "Yeah, but not today. I need to go back and get proper tools. Big ones." She tilted her head. "Soon. I'll try tomorrow. But there's something else." Jason looked down. "I want to understand. You, your people, your world. Why stay here when all others left?" She didn't answer right away. Instead, she swam back a few feet, then looked at him with soft eyes. "You want to see?" she asked. Jason blinked. "See what?" She stretched out a glowing hand above the water. Jason hesitated, but then he took it. The moment his fingers touched hers, a gentle electric warmth rushed up his arm. Not painful, strange, but calm. "Come," she said, and then, without another word, she pulled him into the lake. Jason gasped as the cold water soaked through his clothes. His boots filled instantly, dragging him down, but Sarah swam beside him, holding his hand firmly. He tried not to panic as they swam deeper and deeper. Light faded. The world grew quiet, but Sarah's glow guided him. It grew brighter as they went lower. Finally, after what felt like forever, the lake opened up, wider than before. It wasn't just deep, it was hollow. A dome-shaped cavern opened beneath the lake, and at its center was something that made Jason's heart skip. A glowing city. Tiny buildings made from smooth, coral-like stone. Crystal towers. Stone carvings along the walls with strange, beautiful alien symbols. But it was empty. No lights in the homes. No movement. Just silence and water and memory. Scyra stopped swimming and floated in the middle of it. "This," she said, "was home." Jason looked around in amazement. "This is incredible. It's still here, ... She nodded slowly. "Our sanctuary, long ago. Before the sickness came." Jason frowned. "What sickness?" Sarah swam toward one of the structures. When the sky broke, the stars changed. Machines came, noise came. The lake dimmed. Many left, some turned cold. Jason realized she was talking about the human explorers. Satellite scans, mining drones, and water probes had likely disturbed the ecosystem. So they abandoned this, he asked. Sarah looked down. They were afraid. Of dying. Of changing. I stayed. To remember. Jason floated beside her in silence. He couldn't imagine the loneliness. How do you survive alone down here? He asked. I sleep in the walls, in the stone. I breathe water and air. I sang to the lake, she replied, eyes distant. Then she reached into the side of one of the coral buildings and pulled something out. It was a crystal orb, small, glowing faint blue. What's that? Jason asked. Memory stone, Sarah said. Of my mother. Jason gently took it in his hands. A soft hum vibrated through his palm, and then images filled his mind. Sarah's mother, tall, strong, alien woman with glowing fins on her arms, singing in a strange tongue. She was holding a baby. Sarah then came flashes of their city before the fall. Laughing children, swimming schools, dancing underwater. Then dash darkness. Machines collapse. Jason gasped and handed it back, overwhelmed. That's powerful, he whispered. Sarah nodded. Now you carry our memory too. Jason blinked. He felt heavy, not with fear, but with responsibility. He understood now. This wasn't just a girl needing help. This was a dying legacy. Sarah looked into his eyes. Will you protect it? Jason didn't hesitate. Yes, I will. Then a sudden sound echoed from above, metallic, clanging. Jason looked up sharply. What was that? Sarah's face turned serious. You're being followed. Jason's heart raced. The research team. He grabbed her hand again. Come on, we have to go. They swam up fast, through the lake's belly and toward the surface. As they neared the top, Jason saw a flash of drone. It was hovering just above the waterline. It had seen them. Jason broke the surface and gasped for air. Sarah rose beside him, her face tense. He looked around, no one else yet, but it was only a matter of time. They know. Jason whispered. Sarah's silver eyes locked onto his. Then they will come. Jason's boots hit the ground hard as he ran through the alien jungle, breath ragged and chest tight. Behind him, the buzz of a scout drone still echoed in the trees. It had followed them. It had seen them. Sarah was no longer a secret. He reached his camp, a hidden outpost about half a kilometer from the lake. The door to the research pod slid open with a hiss, and Jason jumped inside. Locking it behind him, the screen on his terminal was already blinking. Incoming message, urgent, Commander Reese, Central Base Jason. His stomach dropped. He tapped the console, and a stern, cold face appeared on the screen. Dr. Keller, Reese said, her voice sharp. We received a strange energy reading from your sector. Your drone recorded something unusual, an aquatic humanoid life form. Native, unknown, but rare. Jason didn't answer right away. Reese narrowed her eyes. Do you have something too? Report. Jason forced a calm voice. The drone malfunctioned. I lost contact during a storm. A storm, she repeated. High static levels. Maybe a solar flare interference. Could have scrambled the signal. Reese didn't look convinced. Well, we're sending a security team to investigate. Expect them within 36 hours. If there is something living out there, something intelligent, we want it secured, studied, and controlled. The screen went black dot. Jason sat frozen, jaw tight. Secured, studied, controlled. Eh? They were going to hunt her. He stood, grabbed his bag, and bolted out the door. Sarah was already waiting at the lake. Jason burst through the trees. Breathless, "They're coming," he said. "The scientists, they know." Sarah's expression didn't change much, but something in her shoulders tensed. "How long?" "Day and a half, maybe less." Sarah looked at the water. "They'll trap me." Jason nodded. "Oh, that's what they do?" For a moment, there was silence. Jason looked at her hurriedly. Her face was calm, but her eyes were full of emotion. Pain, fear, but also strength. He knelt by the water. "I can hide you, take you somewhere deeper, somewhere even drones can't scan." Sarah shook her head. "They will search the whole lake. Then we'll go beyond it," Jason said. Sarah blinked. "There is one place." Jason leaned forward. "Where?" She pointed to the far end of the lake, where thick vines draped over the cliffs like curtains. "There's a tunnel, underwater. It leads to the forgotten springs. Warmer water, untouched. My people used to heal there." Jason stood up. "Then, that's where we're going." They didn't waste time. Jason packed a new bag with supplies, thermal wraps, nutrient tubes, light flares, his scanner, and the memory stone. He also carried a water-sealed capsule with air masks in case the tunnel was longer than expected. Sarah swam ahead, guiding the way. The water grew darker, thicker. Even the sunlight above seemed to stop chasing them. Jason followed close. Heart thudding, they passed through a narrow cave mouth hidden behind the cliffs. Then dove deep into the water. The entrance to the tunnel opened like a mouth-wide and black dot. Jason flicked on his underwater light. Inside, the stone walls shimmered with algae and glowing crystals. It wasn't natural, but not human-made either. It was old, alien, beautiful. They swam for minutes. Jason lost track of time. The tunnel twisted like a serpent, winding left and right, then downward. Pressure built in his ears. Just when he started to worry about oxygen, the tunnel opened up. A warm light welcomed them. Jason broke the surface and gasped. Before him was a hidden chamber deep beneath the lake. Giant glowing mushrooms grew along the cave walls. A warm spring bubbled at the center. Small glowing fish swam lazily in circles. The water sparkled as if dusted with stars. It was quiet, peaceful, untouched. Sarah rose beside him, breathing gently. Her skin shimmered brighter now. Her strength had returned. "This place," Jason whispered. "Sanctuary," she said. They climbed onto the rocky ledge together. Jason wrapped himself in a heat blanket and handed Sarah one too. She accepted it, but her body didn't seem cold anymore. "I can stay here," she said. "But not forever." Jason looked at her. "Why not? If they find this place, they'll poison it too." Jason clenched his fists. "I won't let that happen." She turned to him, voice soft. "Why do you help me, Jason?" He looked down. "Because you're not just some alien life form to study. You're a person. You've lost everything, and still, you trust." She touched the memory stone gently. "Because now, I'm not alone." They sat in silence for a while. The warm air wrapped around them like a blanket. But Jason knew peace wouldn't last. The scientists were coming, and they would stop at nothing. Back at the surface, miles away, a small black ship touched down in the jungle. 4 soldiers in black armor stepped out. One of them held a tracker. "The signal is near," the leader said. "We find it, we capture it. And if the doctor interferes, we silence him too." Jason woke to the sound of soft humming. Not machine humming, but something alive. He opened his eyes slowly. The underground spring was glowing faintly. Sarah stood in the center of the pool, arms outstretched, eyes closed, her body surrounded by tiny glowing particles that floated like fireflies. He sat up, confused. "Sarah?" She didn't respond. Jason moved to the water's edge. The warmth that had comforted him earlier was now hot. He stepped back, surprised. The water around Sarah was changing. It shimmered in waves, not just glowing, but pulsing. As if the spring had awakened, Sarah's skin, once faintly blue, now glowed with streaks of silver and violet. Her arms sparkled, and fine lines formed on her back like folded fins. Her breathing grew slower, deeper. Jason watched in awe. She was transforming, but into what? He checked the scanner. Vital signs were rising: fast heart rate, energy levels, internal temperature. But there was no danger signal. Then a new reading flashed. Genetic activity detected. Biological shift in progress. Warning: unknown phase evolution. Jason whispered, "She's evolving." He had never seen anything like this. Sarah suddenly gasped, eyes wide, and sank below the surface. Jason leaped forward. "Sarah." But before he could dive in, she shot upward again, bursting from the water in a brilliant splash. And this time, she looked different, taller. Her hair floated behind her like a shining veil. Her eyes glowed brighter than before. The soft fins on her back opened gently like the petals of an alien flower. Jason stared, speechless. She slowly stepped out of the water, no longer shivering or weak. Sarah was radiant. Her voice was clearer, stronger. The spring answered. Jason blinked. "You changed." She nodded, calm. "It was always inside me. I just needed time, water, trust." Jason smiled a little. "You scared me? I thought you were dying." She walked closer. "No, I was becoming." Before Jason could say more, his wrist buzzed. He frowned and tapped it. Private channel breached. Audio only. Jason. There. Here, his friend Luca, one of the junior researchers at base. The only one Jason had ever trusted. Jason spoke quickly. "Where?" "Near your camp. 4 men. Black suits, military-grade gear. They're asking about you." And a female life form. Jason's heart dropped. "Thanks, Luca. Go silent. Don't speak to them again." The line ended. Jason turned to Sarah. "They're close. We have to move deeper, maybe out of the cave system entirely." Sarah looked toward the glowing spring. "If I leave this place too early, the change may not hold." Jason hesitated. "Then what can we do?" She looked down at her hands. "They will come for me, but they don't understand me. They'll think I'm a danger." Jason stood. "You're not." "But they won't believe you," she said. He clenched his jaw. "Then I'll show them." She shook her head. "They will only believe what they can control." Suddenly, a loud boom echoed above. Jason turned toward the cave tunnel. Heavy footfalls. A faint mechanical whir. Flashlights cutting through the darkness. "They've found the tunnel," he whispered. "Already." Sarah's voice was calm. "Let me protect you." Jason looked at her, confused. "What do you mean?" She touched his chest, and a soft glow passed from her palm into him. He flinched, but it didn't hurt. It felt like warmth spreading through his body. "Now, they can't see you," she said softly. "What? You carry my light. It hides you from machines." Jason looked down. The glow faded from view, but he felt different, lighter, invisible. Then Sarah stepped forward toward the water again. "I will stop them." Jason grabbed her arm. "Why? You can't go alone." She smiled, sad but proud. "This is my home. I will protect it." Before he could stop her, she dove into the water again and disappeared. Meanwhile, Amanda. Reese stepped into the dark tunnel. Her boots splashed through shallow pools. The soldiers moved behind her with scanners. Life form detected ahead. One said, "Multiple energy spikes." Reese raised her blaster. "We capture it alive, but if it resists..." Suddenly, the water ahead exploded upward. Sarah rose from the deep. Like a spirit of the spring, her body shimmered with power. The soldiers froze. "What is that?" one whispered. Reese pointed her blaster. Target in sight. But before she could fire, the air around Sarah rippled. A wall of light burst outward, knocking them all backward. The blasters sparked. The lights went out. Screams echoed. Through the tunnel, Sarah hovered above the spring, now untouchable. "You do not own this world," she said. "And you will not take me." Jason watched from a hidden ledge above, heart pounding. "She wasn't running. She was defending," he whispered. "She's not just changing. She's becoming who she was meant to be." Jason sprinted through the tunnel, boots splashing in shallow water, heart hammering in his chest. The echoes of shouting and weapons charging reached his ears. He didn't care if they saw him. He didn't care if they tried to stop him. They were going after her, and he wasn't going to let that happen. Back inside the glowing spring chamber, Sarah hovered just above the water. Her eyes were silver fire, her long dark hair floating like liquid shadow. Faint wings made of glowing light unfolded from her back, like fins woven from stardust. She wasn't attacking, she was warning them. But the soldiers didn't understand. Commander Reese shouted, "Open containment net. Target is active." One of the soldiers fired. The energy bolt hit Sarah's chest, then shattered. Like glass, she didn't even flinch. She raised one hand. The water behind her rose. A great wall of shimmering liquid stood still, as if frozen mid-wave, humming with power. "You attack." "Without knowing," Sarah said, her voice echoing with strength. "You fear what you do not understand." Reese didn't back down. "I understand you're a threat. You could destabilize every treaty we've signed with this sector. Not registered, you're not controlled." Sarah's eyes narrowed. "You cannot control life." That's when Jason charged into the chamber, chest heaving. "Stop," he shouted. "Don't touch her." Everyone turned. Reese pointed at him. "Dr. Keller, stand down. You're interfering in a military op? I don't care." He yelled, "You don't know what she is. You think she's some random alien, but she's not. She's the last of her kind. She carries their history, their wisdom. She's..." "Dangerous," Reese interrupted. Jason stepped between them and Sarah, hands raised. "She saved me. She healed me. She's not dangerous. You are." A tense silence followed. One of the soldiers raised his blaster again. Jason stepped in front of Sarah fully now. "You'll have to shoot through me." Reese stared at him coldly. And then, without warning, Sarah stepped forward. She placed a glowing hand on Jason's shoulder and whispered, "I will not let them hurt you." Jason turned, confused. "Wait, what are you?" Before he could finish, Sarah stepped around him and faced the commander directly. She raised both arms, and from her body, a pulse of light spread through the chamber. All weapons deactivated. Blasters blinked red and shut down. Scanners failed. Helmets sparked, then silence. The soldiers backed away slowly, eyes wide. Reese snarled, trying to restart her gear. "What did you do?" "I freed them," Sarah said softly, from fear. Jason walked beside her. "You should go. Now." Reese gave him one last glare. "You've made a mistake, Keller." Then she turned and stormed out of the chamber, her soldiers following in silence. Later that evening, Jason and Sarah sat beside the glowing spring. The energy had calmed. The water no longer shimmered like fire, but it was still alive, still warm. "Safe," Jason looked at her. "You didn't Have to do that. I did, she said. If I ran again, I would always be hunted. He nodded. What now? Sarah looked up at the ceiling, where drops of water sparkled like stars. I feel something, she said, like a voice calling. From the sky, Jason frowned. What do you mean? She placed a hand over her chest. When the transformation began, something woke inside me. A memory, not mine. A message. Jason leaned forward. From your people. She nodded. A beacon. One final light, waiting to be lit. Jason stood. Then we'll find it. But you've already done so much, she whispered. He smiled. Sarah, I didn't come to this planet to collect rocks, tame too. Find meaning, and I found you. She blinked, unsure of what to say. Jason chuckled nervously. Okay, that sounded way smoother in my head. Ka, Sarah laughed softly, sound like wind moving through chimes. You're strange, she said. Thanks. But kind. Jason looked up at the cave opening far above. Then let's go light that beacon. Sarah took his hand. The light from the spring glowed brighter for a moment. Elsewhere. Back at Central Command, Commander Reese stood in front of a massive screen showing footage of Sarah floating above the spring. A voice from behind spoke. She's awakened it, hasn't she? Reese turned to see an older man in a gray coat. The director. She's no ordinary alien, he continued. She's the last daughter of the Waterbinders. Reese frowned. Then why didn't we act sooner? The director leaned closer because we thought they were extinct. He paused. Now we know. She's becoming something more. The morning was quiet. Jason stood at the edge of the sacred spring, his boots half sunk in the soft, wet stone. Mist rolled across the glowing pool, swirling in pale colors, violet, blue, silver. The air hummed with gentle energy. Sarah stood in the center of the water, calm and tall, her skin glowing like liquid moonlight. Her eyes were closed, her hands were open to the sky. Jason didn't speak. He knew something important was happening. She had told him the night before the beacon must be lit. Once it glows, my people will hear. If they are still alive, they will come. Jason had asked, what if they don't? She had only smiled. Then I will still shine. Now, he watched as tiny lights gathered around her. Fireflies. No, not insects, memories. They floated in the air shapes of things long gone. A young alien child swimming with her mother. Her father carving symbols into glowing stone. Her people dancing in light rain beneath alien stars. Jason stepped back. He felt like he was watching the past come alive. Then Seyra opened her eyes, and something deep inside the spring rumbled. The water began to shift. A spiral of light rose from the depth, slow and wide. Sarah stepped into it and let it carry her upward, rising slowly like she weighed nothing at all. Jason gasped. The spiral became a pillar beam of light shot through the cave ceiling. Up and up, out into the sky. Above the planet, through thick clouds, the light burst like a silent firework, blue and gold and white. It flashed once, then settled into a glowing star high above. Jason stared in awe. Is it done? He asked. Sarah floated gently down and stepped onto the surface of the water, now glowing under her feet. Yes, she said softly. They will hear. Jason looked up. Will they come now? She nodded. If any of them survived, they will feel this light. They will remember home. 3 days passed. Jason and Sarah waited in peace near the spring, hiding from the soldiers and scientists. Reese and her men had retreated, leaving the cave undisturbed for now. Sarah spent her time swimming through the spring, singing softly in her native tongue. Jason wrote in his journal, recording every word, every sight, every sound. But by the fourth night, no one had come. Jason sat by the edge, watching her. "You okay?" he asked gently. Sarah looked up from the water. "I thought I'd feel joy, but now I feel something else." Jason frowned. "What?" She hesitated. "Alone, even with you here." Jason stood and walked over. "You're not alone. I'm still here." She gave him a small, tired smile. "You are kind, Jason, but you are human. You do not belong to my world." Jason shook his head. "No, but maybe I can walk beside it." They looked at each other. Then, from far above, the cave ceiling shook. A deep, distant hum vibrated through the stone. Jason turned sharply. What was that? Sarah stood, eyes wide. Her voice trembled. "A ship." They both ran to the upper ledge of the cave where daylight slipped through. Jason peeked out into the open sky. A massive ship, round and silver, shaped like a giant teardrop, hovered silently above the jungle. It shimmered like a dream, light bending around it. "No engines, no fire," Jason whispered. "It's flying without force." "It's them," Sarah said, voice soft. "My people." A hatch opened on the ship's underside. A small shuttle descended slowly and touched the ground near the lake. Jason reached out and squeezed Sarah's hand. "Go, I'll be right behind you." She nodded and moved forward as she approached the shuttle. It opened and 3 figures stepped out. They were taller than Sarah, older. Their skin glowed with the same soft light. Their robes were flowing like water. One of them gasped when they saw her. The elder stepped forward and dropped to one knee. "Last child," he said. "We have searched for you." Sarah stood still, tears building in her eyes. "I remembered the water," she whispered. The elder nodded. "You lit the beacon. You have awakened the bond. The world hears you." She turned and looked back at Jason. He smiled and gave her a small nod, but her eyes didn't say goodbye. She turned to the elder and said, "He comes with me." Jason blinked. "Wait, what?" The elder looked uncertain. "He is human." Sarah stepped beside Jason and took his hand. "He is why I survived. He carries our memory now, and I carry his." A long pause. Then the elder stepped forward and offered Jason a hand. "Then he walks with us." Jason laughed softly and shook the elder's hand. "Guess I'm going off-world." That night, as the ship rose silently into the stars, Sarah stood beside him in the viewing chamber. The lake below shimmered, slowly fading into distance. "Everything's changing," Jason said. She nodded. "Yes, and now we begin again." He looked at her. "And you're not alone anymore." Sarah smiled. "No, we never were."